At 1447 hours on October 19, 2025, Ukrainian forces executed the most sophisticated deep strike drone operation in modern warfare history. The target: 18 tons of Russian nuclear reactor components destined for the Rooppur Nuclear Power Plant in Bangladesh. The result: a textbook demonstration of how fourth-generation warfare transforms logistics vulnerabilities into strategic catastrophes. Hazrat Shah Jalal International Airport, Dhaka, Bangladesh. A Russian Rosatom official transmitted confirmation to Moscow. Package secured, delivery complete. What he didn't know would soon rewrite the tactical playbook on supply chain warfare. 12 Wild Hornet first-person view combat drones were already airborne, vectoring toward his position at 150 miles per hour. These weren't reconnaissance platforms. They were precision-guided weapon systems carrying thermobaric warheads, and they had been tracking this shipment for 31 days. The operation was surgical. Ukrainian intelligence had penetrated the Russian logistics network, exploiting a vulnerability Moscow never saw coming. The attack vector was brilliant. If you can't stop a shipment from arriving, become part of the shipment itself. For the previous month, Ukrainian signals intelligence maintained persistent surveillance on Russian cargo movements through the Starlink satellite network. This was active penetration. Cyber warfare specialists inserted modified tracking data into the Russian logistics system, creating a digital Trojan horse that reported false container contents. The manifest listed industrial chemicals, standard commercial cargo. The reality was different. One container held the dormant drone swarm, waiting for activation. The trigger mechanism demonstrated exceptional operational security. No radio frequencies that could be intercepted. Ukrainian planners deployed a Leleka 100 reconnaissance drone equipped with a 4,000-pixel infrared imaging system positioned at the Indian border, maintaining standoff distance over 200 kilometers from the target. Its infrared camera locked onto the specific quick-response barcode on the infiltrated container. The drone transmitted an encoded infrared laser pulse, an invisible light-based signal that functioned as the activation command. No radio emissions, no detectable signature. Pure optical communication that circumvented every jammer in the Bangladeshi air defense network. The drones came alive inside the container, receiving the wake-up call and initiating pre-programmed launch sequences. The Rooppur Nuclear Power Plant represents far more than infrastructure. It's a 2.4 gigawatt symbol of Russian technological influence in South Asia. The destroyed components were critical path items with 18-month lead times that cannot be rapidly replaced. Destroying this shipment achieves multiple objectives simultaneously. First, catastrophic schedule delays on a prestige project Russia cannot abandon. Second, forcing India to reassess Moscow's ability to protect sensitive assets. Third, demonstrating Ukrainian reach 4,000 miles from the primary theater. This isn't vandalism. It's strategic messaging with thermobaric warheads. At 1430 hours, 50 miles from Dhaka, a cargo truck concealed in jungle terrain executed its mission. Side panels folded down, revealing 3 Goa mothership launch platforms. These carrier drones lifted off simultaneously, releasing the 12 Wild Hornet strike drones in coordinated deployment. The swarm formed tactical flight formation and descended to 50 feet above the Bangladeshi delta. This altitude was deliberate. At this height, drones flew beneath the radar horizon, using Earth's curvature to mask their approach. Radar waves travel in straight lines, and the planet's surface creates a blind zone extending for miles. Inside the command truck, the lead pilot's first-person view goggles displayed high-definition video streaming at 150 miles per hour. He knew the parameters. Any signal interruption exceeding 1 second would compromise the mission. The Starlink link had to remain unbroken from launch to impact. High overhead, the Leleka 100 brought final intelligence into focus. Its infrared camera penetrated the warehouse's metal roof, identifying the unique quick response code on the target container. Encrypted burst transmission. Target confirmed, coordinates verified, strike authorization granted. The swarm was on final approach, but they were flying directly toward an American-manufactured air search radar that would detect them within seconds. At 1448 hours, inside Dhaka's Air Defense Command Center, an operator detected an anomaly. 12 small contacts appeared inside the 50-mile perimeter, moving at low altitude and high speed. The signature didn't match any known profile. The operator hit alert activation. Unidentified tracks, bearing 290 degrees, low altitude, high speed. The automated threat assessment designated the lead contact as primary target. A Bangladeshi soldier received engagement command and raised his M16 rifle. He fired a controlled burst, and the target exploded in plastic fragments. The command center celebrated. First kill. The celebration lasted exactly 4 seconds. The remaining 11 contacts didn't scatter. They continued on exact approach vector at precisely the same speed. The destroyed drone was a decoy, a $500 sacrificial unit designed to trigger the defender's hand and reveal response timeline. The Bangladeshi commander understood instantly. He grabbed the secure red phone connecting directly to the Russian Rosatom security detachment leader. "Sir, confirm drone swarm inbound on direct vector to your cargo location. This is coordinated military strike." The Russian officer dropped the phone and grabbed his encrypted radio. 2 miles away, the crew of a concealed Pantsir S-1 air defense system received activation code. "Threat is real. Activate engagement protocols immediately." The system's powerful radar powered up, electronic beams sweeping the sky. The Ukrainians had lost surprise. They were now flying into an active, fully alerted, multi-million-dollar air defense network, hunting them with lethal intent. At 1449 hours, the Pantsir's radar flooded the airspace. On paper, engagement should have ended within seconds. The Pantsir S-1 is designed for this threat profile. Small, fast-moving targets at low altitude. But the Ukrainian swarm executed tactical deception that was equal parts brilliant and audacious. 4 drones broke from main formation. Instead of continuing toward primary target, they dropped payloads onto empty shipping containers 50 yards from the objective. The payload was thermite powder, igniting at 2,000 degrees Fahrenheit with blinding intensity. The containers erupted in brilliant white flame, drawing every eye, every fire team, and every responder to the wrong location. While chaos erupted on ground level, the real attack developed silently from above. The Leleka 100 maintained persistent surveillance on the true target. It painted the container's roof with coded infrared laser, invisible to human eyes, but visible to infrared-sensitive systems. Why? The Ukrainians had placed a modified lithium battery pack inside the container. The laser's specific frequency served as activation switch. The battery began controlled short circuit, initiating slow, insidious fire from inside the sealed container. In the Russian command office, a technician monitoring thermal sensors noticed anomaly. Container 77 Bravo registered 3.6 degrees Fahrenheit warmer than surrounding cargo. Subtle, but didn't align with expected parameters. The Russians saw through the decoy fire, but this new thermal signature forced them to deploy reserve capability. From a nearby airbase, a Russian Ilyushin-20 intelligence aircraft began taxiing, but the aircraft was 10 minutes from takeoff, too slow. At 1450 hours, the Russian Special Operations Team received direct orders. Evacuate the primary asset immediately. 2 team members shouldered Igla-S man portable air defense systems. Their infrared seekers swept the sky, searching for heat signatures from the drone's electric motors. They achieved lock instantly. High-pitched warning tones screamed in the Ukrainian pilot's headset. Missile lock acquired. He yanked his control stick hard left, throwing his drone into 9G evasive maneuver. The Igla-S missile streaked past his camera, missing by less than 10 feet. But tactical situation deteriorated. The Russians began moving the container. The massive smoke plume from the decoy fire, supposed to provide concealment, became a blinding curtain between drones and objective. The pilot navigated almost entirely on instruments, flying through self-generated storm while being engaged by heat-seeking missiles. He was blind. He was hunted. His target was mobile, seconds to act. At 1451 hours, the Igla-S missile screamed toward the lead drone. The pilot tapped a single button. The drone's underbelly ejected an ALE-47 decoy flare, engineered to burn significantly hotter and brighter than any electric motor signature. The missile faced binary choice: pursue the small target or track the large, intense thermal source. The missile broke lock on the drone and chased the decoy, detonating harmlessly 1,000 feet away. First threat neutralized, but the pilot remained blind, and his target was being evacuated. How do you strike what you cannot see? The answer came from altitude. The Leleka 100, its infrared camera piercing through smoke, painted the moving Russian container with targeting laser. Inside the pilot's goggles, a new symbol materialized, a green targeting box tracking the container's exact position in real time. He now had digital breadcrumb trail through chaos. He saw only the green box, perfect fusion of human pilot and machine sensor. 6 drones, decoy flares expended, peeled off to engage the Russian air defense teams, forcing them to dive for cover. The 5 remaining drones followed their leader's laser-guided path. They burst through the smoke screen. Russian soldiers looked up just in time to see 5 Hornets diving at terminal velocity. They didn't have time to react. The drones slammed into the container, thermobaric warheads erupting with devastating effect. This wasn't conventional detonation. It was a pressure wave, a 1,000-pound per square inch wall of searing heat that shattered the 18-ton container into burning catastrophe. At 1451.05 hours, the command from Kiev was single word, ignite. Impact was calculated with precision. Each of 5 drones struck its pre-assigned coordinate, guided by the Leleka's laser with surgical accuracy. For a fraction of a second, silent. Then the thermobaric warheads functioned exactly as designed. This wasn't thunder of conventional bomb. It was the deep, terrifying whoosh of air inside the warehouse catching fire. The Russian container was instantly engulfed in sphere of white-hot plasma. The warhead design was sophisticated. The fuse delayed detonation by 1.1 seconds. The initial shaped charge punched penetration hole in the container first. This allowed the main thermobaric charge to detonate inside the target volume. When the main charge ignited, it released cloud of aerosolized fuel mixing with ambient oxygen. The resulting detonation created sustained 2,500-degree pressure wave that used oxygen within the warehouse itself as additional fuel. The concrete walls didn't contain the blast, they reflected it, transforming the structure into massive pressure vessel. The Russian hardware incinerated from inside out. Steel support beams warped and buckled under extreme thermal stress. The concrete roof shattered and collapsed inward, burying the evidence in tomb of its own construction. The electrical surge overloaded every server in the logistics office. The data, shipping manifests, tracking numbers, proof of delivery was permanently destroyed. On the ground, absolute chaos. Emergency sirens wailed, but fire vehicles couldn't approach the inferno. The black smoke forced complete shutdown of Hazrat Shah Jalal Airport, one of Asia's busiest hubs. All flights grounded for 6 hours, creating international incident that couldn't be concealed. There was no rescue attempt, nothing remaining to rescue. Within hours, a commercial satellite captured definitive evidence, a 50-foot crater of blackened, twisted metal where a state-of-the-art warehouse had stood. The physical damage was catastrophic, but strategic implications tell the complete story. 18 tons of critical nuclear components destroyed. 4 Bangladeshi soldiers with minor injuries. Small but politically significant cost. Russia's $50 million investment transformed into Ukraine's most devastating drone strike of 2025. But real damage isn't measured in dollars or tonnage. It's strategic chain reaction, and shockwaves are spreading. First, the fire instantly freezes the Rooppur project, flagship symbol of Russian technological influence in South Asia, for minimum 18 months. Every day of delay compounds financial and reputational cost. Second, political fallout strikes New Delhi. India, Russia's most important regional partner, now sees Moscow as liability, an ally who cannot protect sensitive assets 4,000 miles from nearest combat zone. The question in Indian strategic circles is brutally simple. If Russia can't secure cargo shipment in friendly territory, how can they be trusted with nuclear cooperation? Third, paralysis spreads throughout global logistics. Every sensitive Russian shipment is now treated as potential explosive device. Insurance premiums skyrocket. Security inspections become cripplingly slow. Russia's entire supply chain is choked with suspicion and delay. And final, most potent effect, paranoia that infects the Kremlin's decision-making. Putin's security briefings become shorter and more guarded. His circle of trusted advisors contracts. He doesn't know who to blame with certainty. The Central Intelligence Agency? A rogue operative? Or a Ukrainian cyber warfare specialist with laptop and exceptional skills? This operation demonstrates critical principles reshaping modern military operations, logistics as target. Traditional warfare focused on destroying military forces. Modern warfare targets, supply chains that enable those forces. Drone strike on cargo is strategically equivalent to missile strike on military base. Cyber-physical integration. The operation seamlessly blended cyber penetration, signals intelligence, and kinetic strike. The hack wasn't the mission. The hack enabled the mission. Decoy layering. Multiple levels of deception, from false manifest to thermite diversion to sacrificial lead drone, overwhelmed the defender's decision cycle. Optical communication. Using infrared lasers instead of radio frequencies bypassed every electronic warfare countermeasure. When everyone hunts for radio emissions, light becomes invisible. Thermobaric overmatch. Warhead selection wasn't about destroying container. It was about creating unsurvivable environment within warehouse, ensuring complete target destruction regardless of protective measures. The lesson for Moscow is crystalline. Don't ship your most sensitive assets when a Ukrainian drone operator has obtained your tracking number. This operation wasn't about destroying 18 tons of nuclear component. Components can be rebuilt. Schedules can be adjusted. This operation was about demonstrating reach, proving that Russian logistics networks are vulnerable anywhere on Earth, forcing Moscow to question every cargo manifest, every shipping route, every security protocol. It was psychological warfare delivered with thermobaric warheads, and it worked with devastating precision. The Rooppur Nuclear Power Plant sits frozen. Construction timeline shattered. Russian influence in South Asia has been dealt blow that no press release can repair. India watches and calculates strategic options with fresh skepticism. Most importantly, every Russian logistics officer now understands new operational reality. The Ukrainians can reach you anywhere. Your cargo isn't safe. Your supply chain isn't secure. Your enemy has demonstrated capability to penetrate your networks, track your shipments, infiltrate your containers, and destroy your most valuable assets with surgical precision. That's not tactical defeat. That's strategic paradigm shift. Welcome to fourth-generation warfare, where a laptop, a satellite link, and 12 drones rewrite the rules of engagement 4,000 miles from the front line.